Welcome to my feed. My name is Prima and I am a multiplier. My work is for multipliers. So I belong to you, you belong to me, we belong together. Welcome to my Facebook live stream. And if this is your very first time, I would love to know that you exist. Please say hello. You watch this on the replay, please say hello. My work is for people who are multipliers. What that means is that there is a mission on your name that helps other people. There is a certain kind of person that finds my work important to them. But before I get ahead of myself, let's just be sure that this time we have a sound because I did one before and there was no sound. So give me a sec. Okay, I see the live. Yeah, welcome. I would love to know when you watch this and how useful it is for you. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I would love to explain to you the kind of person that I'm called to serve, the kind of person that I'm called to hold space for, the kind of person that I belong to. Okay? I hold space for people who are so powerful. If you're watching this, chances are that the work that is assigned to your name is so important, so secret, so life altering that you feel like you're being called to expand your insides. But like the work that you're called to do is a kind of work that forces you to become everything that you can become. There's a demand on your calling, and it calls you to the purest of frequencies. What I mean by that is you feel called to truth, pure love, pure surrender, pure service, and full presence. You are being called to remove distortion from your life and step into everything that you know you can be. And every time you're not doing that, the mission does not move. The reason that is that your work is so important, so sacred, so life altering that it demands you to operate from the clearest channel that you can be. And one of the things that this work moves is that you're the light in the world and people use your light to kind of light their candle. So if you're not lit enough, if your light is not bright enough, the candles of others will not be lit. So it is through the experience of your own light that other people find the light to their own candles. And so if you are called to my work, chances are that you're kind of that secret multiplier. And the work on your life, the experiences you've gone through, the whatever it is that you have gone through that you're trying to put in front of others requires the purity of your soul. Today, I want to talk about clarity because in 2026 and above, and the other years to come, when everything is going to be push of a button, and I feel like more than ever before, it's increasingly becoming important. One, to know how to get clarity when you lose it, but two, to become the person that is always clear about your vision, about your mission, about where you're going, about how you're getting there, most importantly, how you're not getting there. It is very easy to lose clarity when there's a lot of noise. Very easy. And so I feel like the creators who are really going to stay to the front line are those that don't only know how to get clear, but how to go back and recalibrate back to clarity every time. The world is moving. It's very busy. Everything is happening. All the offers are east, west, center. There's so many people that sound smart these days. There's so many people that say things that are attractive. There's so many promises. So much push the button and get everything that you want. And so I find that losing clarity is going to be something that happens in a blink of an eye. And every time you lose clarity, I think what would be helpful is having structure and a process to get yourself clear again. I have seen people who every time they lose clarity, they hire a mentor or a coach or wherever. And it's going to be, the world is going to be so busy, so fast-paced, so stimulated that it's going to be really important to understand how to bring yourself back to clarity. In the time when you're not clear, people's marriages are going downhill. companies are breaking. Like, you lose so much if every time you need clarity, you have to get it outside of yourself. So what I hope happens during our conversation today is that we get clear on how to make decisions that bring back clarity every time we feel we're losing clarity. Because I feel like it's a conversation that I love to have. I'd love to have like a two-sided conversation. I'd love to be able to hear back from you about what you think about this conversation. And if you find the conversation helpful, I would love for you to share it with one player, somebody that you feel has the ability to impact and influence others. I'm not called to help millions of people. I'm called to help a handful, but because they're multipliers, that's how we get to the millions. So let's get into the class for today. The best way I suggest you consume this video is just get in a room, remove distraction, and assume that I'm with you in the same room and we are speaking face to face. That's like the best way I would love to be able to speak to you. If I could, I would come to your hometown and sit with you and talk to you, but I can't. And so I feel like this platform allows me to do that. So if you just sit down and just sit with me, like we're on the same table having a conversation, that is the best way I would love for you to consume every other piece of content that I write, because I write it for you. I write it for the kind of multiplier that is being called to literally expand their insights to be able to hold the mission on their name, because I am that person. I have lived that experience and I'm still becoming that person every day. We're on the same journey and we're growing together. I feel like the clarity or loss of clarity comes from the decisions that we make. And so I feel like what happens, at least for me, is I make this decision and then this decision and then this decision. And if I am making decisions that are out of calculation to where I'm going, I begin to lose my clarity. And I feel like one of the things that has helped me stay clear is really having a formula to how I make decisions. And I think I'm going to go through that because I feel like that's the best way I can teach clarity. Let's say, for example, I need to hire a coach. Let's say I'm looking to hire a coach. I look at a coach and my intuition goes, that's a coach. Okay. The second thing I do is get data around my decision. So for me, it's important to me that the person has lived my experience. So I look at the coach, I look at their offer, and I go home. I recognize that offer. I resonate with that offer. That's my offer. Second thing I do is I look for data. Is this somebody that embodies the thing that they're teaching? Is this somebody that has the same values as I have? That's what I look for. I look for like data, like who else has gone through their work and who are they? Do I see myself in their clients? Is this person an embodiment of what they're trying to sell? And when I read the offer, does it say yes? It's kind of how I do it. Like, boom, I make a decision. But there is three things I want to teach you when it comes to the clarity triangle. So imagine that we have a triangle. I don't have my drawing thing. Think about a thing that you're trying to do and you're like not doing it. Think about something that you're procrastinating on, sleeping on, the thing that you're trying to do that you're not doing yet. And I want you to think about doing that thing. And I want you to ask yourself a question. When you think about doing that thing, what is it that is true for you? What do you experience? Do you experience one piece around it? Or I need to pay 30,000 to that coach and feels peaceful. Is that the experience? Or I need to hire that coach and I feel neutral. I feel nothing. I feel neutral. Number three could be I want to hire that coach and I feel pressure. So think about any situation. Go as far as you want, separating from your partner, hiring a coach, leaving your job to go work for the other person. Think about any decision that you want to make. What is it that I feel? Is it peace? Am I neutral? Or do I feel pressure? So if I feel peace around a decision, it's go time. If I feel neutral around a decision, I need to sleep on it. I need to wait. I'm not going to move at that time. I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to sit on it. I'm going to wait. If I feel pressure around making a decision, what that means to me is that there is urgency without clarity. When there's noise in your life, you get lots of signal. Every time I have seen something and on an impulsive hit, I've done it, I've replaced kind of impulse with discernment. So for you to stay clear, we need to be still. We need to remove noise. We need to get you off the drip, whatever that is. Go walk in nature, go to the beach, go find stillness. Get off the laptop, get off social media, get off the internet. We need to be still. The other thing we need is we need discernment. And sometimes people mistake impulse for discernment. And think about it like this. We need to be still enough, because if we're still, if we remove the noise, that means we can hear clearly. We need to remove distortion. How do you remove distortion from your life? By doing self-management, which is going to be a video that I create. But the first thing we need is we need stillness. We need to remove distortion. We need to do the work of mastering our emotions and our states. So the first thing I feel is stillness. Get still and anchor yourself in your vision, in your mission, in your identity. We need to remember, who are you? What do you stand for? What do you stand against? What are you here to do? How are you here to do it? We need to keep that clear. Otherwise, somebody will come and take us to the wind of whatever they're doing and however they're doing it. So I feel like the first thing that needs to be really clear is find a way to get yourself to stillness. Get anchored in your identity, get anchored in your vision, get anchored in your mission, and stay still. The second thing that I feel needs to happen is discernment. And when I go back to discernment, we have to see the thing. It needs to be something that we resonate, like a resonance to it. There needs to be a knowing that this is the right thing, the right step, whatever. And then the third thing is we need to get data around our intuition, our knowing, data to support the intuition. So first thing is get still. Second thing is get out of impulse into discernment. And the third thing is accurately understand the emotions around your next step. Sometimes waiting a day, waiting an hour is all the difference. Sometimes crossing the road now and waiting 1 minute later is the difference between being alive and being dead. And so when I look at it as traffic lights, when I get green, I move. When I get yellow, I wait. And when I get red, I don't move. So if the emotion you're feeling is pressure, it means you have urgency, but you don't have clarity. There's urgency, there's a deadline, there's one slot, whatever, but I don't have enough clarity. I don't have enough discernment. And if you have motion and you don't have discernment, you will crash. So pressure is like a red light. Stop and get clear. So I feel like the creators who understand this will be able to create amazing things in a world that is very stimulated. And every time you lose clarity is every time you lose momentum, because momentum requires clarity. And so what I hope happens for you is you begin to sit down with yourself and find your clarity. Because there's different ways to do this work. We can sit here and I can mentor you through it. Or we can do it together. You can come in my containers and we can do it together. But the first thing I do for my clients is we remove the noise and we find stillness and we get connected to the portal of their divine intelligence. That's like the first thing. We get still, we get anchored in the knowing of the person. That's literally the first thing we do. The second thing we do is we find a path of discernment. We need to move from impulse into knowing, a deeper knowing that is discernment. Otherwise, this is what will happen. There will be so many opportunities that you spend a year trying the wrong opportunities. What discernment can do for you is it can go to the 100 opportunities that you have and pull out the one that is connected to your divine strategy. And so what will happen for most people who continue to speed up and do more things and try to catch up with AI and everything is that they will make so many decisions and then they'll have to unlearn everything they've learned in those decisions. And the more wrong decisions you make for yourself, the more clarity you lose. That's kind of how it works. The faster you move sometimes, the more steps you have to take backwards to undo the steps. They're doing so much for so little in return because we have motion without clarity. We have motion without discernment. There's going to be so many opportunities, so many ways you can build your business, so many ways you can get clients, so many ways you can share your message. But what is the way that taps into the frequency that your people will hear? The problem with sacred multipliers, the problem with people that are divinely anointed is that you're not anointed to do all the things for all the people. There's a specific cloud of people that receive your light. There's a specific type of person that is activated by you. And so what we want to do is get so still and be so discerning that we do not spend time with the wrong people, with the wrong connections, with the wrong opportunities. The most frustrating thing is going to be that you've made so much progress in the wrong direction. Most people are not going to be lacking momentum, but they're going to be making momentum in a misaligned direction, which doesn't lead to where the vision is taking them. And so what I find is that we have new problems caused by overstimulation, caused by distortion, caused by all these things that can work. I believe most things can work, but not everything is going to work for you or is assigned to work for you. I believe there's more and more people that need this work because as everything becomes automated and fast-paced and all the things, I feel like people will need the work that we do because yes, money can buy a lot of things, but money will not buy the kind of things that a sacred multiplier is here to do. Money will not buy peace of mind. Money will not buy love in a marriage. Money will not do it. There's things that money will not do. Money will not regulate your system. It will not help you when there's things money will not do. And I feel like this is the work we do. And for us to do this work, we really have to stay clear of distortion. Noise is not an ingredient in our code. So the first thing is to eliminate noise. I don't know how you do that. Get to a place where you're still and right here, right now. Because the most power you can have is the power you hold when you're fully present in the moment. This is the first thing I would say is find a way to remove distractions from your life. One of the things I have done over the years is remove all notifications from my phone, from my laptop, or ringtones or notifications. They're off. If I want to know what's happening on social media, I go to the web and I look for social media. I have to go to the phone and look for the app. Like I don't have anything saying, oh, so and so posted. It doesn't come through. If I want to read my emails, I have to go on the web and type in email and read that way. And every time I check my email, I unsubscribe from all the Google folders because I'm conscious of noise. I'm always working to reduce the noise in my life. And before I leave my bed in the morning, before I go to bed in the middle of the day, I pause and I say, what is the noise I have right now? And I take it out. So, how can you remove the noise in your world? Sometimes it is choosing not to listen to certain people in your life. Sometimes the noise you have in your life is people that give you advice that shouldn't be. It's people that speak in your business or in your life that shouldn't be. Because every time they speak to you, they distort your signal. And you can't afford to have a distorted signal. So how can you clean your environment? And how can you free yourself of noise? Sometimes it's energetic noise. Second thing is discernment. We cannot be in a place where we're making impulse decisions. We cannot be in a place where we're reacting to life. Reaction is a sign that you're making decisions from your impulse. Reaction. You react. I don't know how to explain that, but you react. Somebody says something and then you get angry. Reaction. A client leaves and then you suddenly want to have a call with them. Reaction. Somebody leaves a nasty comment, and then you have a bad day. Reaction. Are you reacting to life right now? Are you reacting to the market? You post something and didn't get comments, and you decide that platform doesn't work, or you decide to delete it because it didn't work. Reaction. Reaction. Just because you put something on social media, no one likes it, doesn't mean anything. Most of my mentorship clients never commented on anything I did. They watched one video and they messaged me, wired me 5 figures. I am that kind of person. I follow people, I watch their stuff, I watch their 1-hour videos, I read all their posts. And I never find myself leaving a comment because it's not important. When they have an offer, I message them and I buy it. Sometimes the person is watching you from a distance. And the more consistent you are, the more you show up, the more credibility you build in their eyes. And one day they decide they're ready for what you do. Are you reacting? We need to move from impulse. We need to move from reaction to discernment. And you won't be able to discern if you have noise in your life. And discernment looks like there's an impulse to buy that thing. There's an impulse to have that conversation with my spouse. There's an impulse to pivot my business. But also there's a calling to be still and to remove the noise and find the data to support my impulse. And once I have the data, then I check in with my alignment. Does it support my vision? Does it support my values? Does it support my identity? Does it support who I am? And I find that some people are leaving their identity to chance. Who are you? Who are you not? What do you stand for? What do you stand against? What are you here to create for who? And how are you here to create it? Once you have those mantras for yourself, it really helps you get anchored in moments of lack of clarity. You have a GPS, you have something to go back to. But if you just leave your identity to chance, the internet will define who you are. A bad moment will define who you are. If you don't decide who you are, somebody else is going to define who you are for you. A bad moment is going to define who you are. And so I suggest that you do the work, because this is going to help you when it's time to decide. And so the first thing really is clear yourself of distortion. However you do that. The second thing is move from impulse to discernment. And I do not know how you do that, but I suggest, one, the impulse is helpful because it shows us what is likely to be for us. But after that, find stillness and get to the data to support your impulse. And then after that, check in with your alignment. Check in with your values, check in with your identity, check in with your mission, check in with your vision, check in with where you're going, and if this decision is aligned to that or not. So the last bit of it is I have to check in with how I feel about that decision. If I feel pressure, it means I am trying to move without clarity. And so I have to go back and find clarity before I move forward. And it doesn't matter if your offer is expiring in the next minute. I feel pressure around it. And so I need data. I need clarity. I need to go back and get clear. Why do I feel pressure around this decision? The second thing is I look at your offer and it's expiring in the next day and I feel neutral around it. It's just timing. I need to wait. And the third one is I'm still enough. I have discernment locked in. And I feel peace around this decision. And then my action then is go time. And every time I do this triangle or triage or whatever it is, I find that I can bring myself back to clarity. Every time I take client through that, I feel like we get back to clarity. And clarity is a point where you're connected to the wisdom of your knowing. You're connected to your divine intelligence. And every one of us is connected to that. But often there's layers of judgment and noise that distort that signal. And so when you can't hear yourself, it is a point when you go, I feel unclear. And so if you find a way to get still, to get out of your head, to be in the present moment, and you find a way to remove distortion, which is like remove judgment, which is like remove all the layers that are not you, and then you find a way back to you find a way back to that part of you that knows, I find that we can do a lot from there. I find that we can make the right decision. I find that we can even explore to really understand like what's important and what is not right now. I feel like we can innovate from that place. Sometimes you don't even know what the options are, but we won't be able to innovate if we are not connected to the divine intelligence that exists inside you. So I feel like once we clear the noise and remove distortion, then we are in a better place to one decide what is important and what is not. You won't make that decision from a crowded place. The second thing I feel we can do there, or at least what we do, is we are able to innovate. We're able to get so many ideas about what we can do. Yes, you feel unclear, but like, what are our options? And I feel like from that place where you're connected to source, we can brainstorm a lot of things. And from there, we can kind of go, what is the one thing right now that we need to do to kick off a chain reaction? What is the one thing we need to pull out as like a game of dominoes? And that is how we stay clear. That is how we make decisions from the best place that we can make them. That is when we make decisions that are connected to your vision and your mission. That is when we make things, we decide on doing things that move you forward. The problem I find is that there's a lot of distortion and a lot of lack of clarity and a lot of reaction. And people make decisions from intuitive hits, which help them move, but they are moving fast on a ring road. And the invitation for you is to get clear before you move. The invitation for you is to find clarity before you make the next move. Find clarity before you do the innovation of whatever the ideas. Find clarity before you decide what is important and what is not. Because a lot of what makes things hard is who we are and what we have to deal with. A lot of the work is less about how do I build a business or how do I build the marriage of my dreams, but it is more like how do I remove distortion and judgment from my life so that I can make these decisions and make this whatever step I'm trying to make in a place that is clear. That's probably everything people need to know about building a business out there already. That's probably everything people need to know about building a marriage already somewhere. What doesn't exist is who you are and the distortion that is happening for you or the distortion that is within you that needs to be dealt with. That part nobody gives you. And so I really find the biggest problem is distortion. The biggest problem is going to be lack of clarity. The biggest problem is going to be noise, too many opportunities, too much distraction, too much stimulation, too many promises of push button solutions. And I feel like the creators who will have a massive advantage are the creators who will be able to tap into the currency of clarity, staying clear at all times. And when you lose the signal, knowing exactly how to go back and pick that up. Because once you have clarity, you can listen to your own wisdom. And once you can listen to your own wisdom, you will know exactly what is for you when you say it. The opportunities will come, 1,000 of them, and there will be this one opportunity that goes, I'm yours. Then you pick it. And because you're locked in, you're tapped in, you will take it seriously, you will write it down, and you'll begin to execute it. Because you're surrendered enough, you'll be like, this is the thing, and then you will lock yourself in, you'll begin doing it. And because you have the frequency of consistency, you will see this thing, the finish line, no matter what other distractions show. But for all that to happen for you, we need you to be locked into the frequency of clarity. You need to be clear. And when you lose the clarity, you need to be able to get it back without seeking for answers outside of yourself. That is my message for today. That's the conversation. I would love to hear from you. What was most important? And if you know a map player that needs to hear this, I would love it if you shared it with them. But please let me know in the chat or in my DMs when you share, because I always have surprises and packs for the subject. I'm my map player. I belong to map players. You belong to me. I belong to you. We belong together. I love you. Have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you next week.